It's Christmas time once more, and while a whole lot of us have new living conditions that will limit our celebrations due to the, everything, it's still important, whether that's online or in person, to spend some time with those that you love and at least try to have a break from the everything. But with all this extra time spent inside, it's given me a lot of time to think, and I've had to take a hard look at the way that Christmas is now celebrated. Let's face it, the religious element of Christmas has definitely taken a backseat to the sparkly trees, obese home intruders, and the extensive consumerism. Even as a Christian myself, it's hard to ignore the red and green elephant in the room that stands in the place where sweet baby Jesus once was. The Holy Trinity, the Big Dad in the sky, the Son that walks among us, and the Spirit within us were all main focuses of the holidays, Christmas and Easter, predominantly this guy. And yet somehow the life, death and resurrection of Christ have been replaced by reindeer and rabbits. So it's come to my attention that, at least in the case of Christmas, there's a new less than Holy Trinity we'll see once we unwrap that big elephant. A slightly different Father, Son and Holy Spirit that come around for about a month at the end of the year. So let's just jump into it! First up, we've got the Father. It shouldn't be too much of a surprise that this is none other than old Santa Claus, based off the real Saint Nick. Pretty sure he was real. Greek bishop, saved some girls from being forced into known for secret gift giving. Wait, went to prison? Maybe. Alright then. Anyway, his successor has taken up his secret gift giving, gotten rid of almost all of the secret part, but tipped the scale all the way to the max. He delivers presents to all the children that he deems to have good behavior on that one night, in a magical sleigh led by magical reindeer, in records that put speedrunners to shame. And it just so happens that those he perceives as good have a really high correlation with those that have financially stable parents. He also happens to be in every shopping centre in the world at all times during all of December. If you're going to make a legendary figure to con children into behaving well, you could at least try to make it a bit more believable. Also, the concept of Santa is creepy. I'm far from the first person to point this out, but come on man. He breaks into everyone's homes and we're just supposed to be okay with it. And he sees you when you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake. I'm surprised I wasn't terrified as a kid after hearing all this. I guess he's similar to the old father in the way that he's got this omnipresence and awareness of everyone at the same time, but they definitely could have worked on the phrasing. And a huge difference between the two is that the facade of Mr. Claus encourages parents worldwide to lie to their children since birth. Yeah, turns out lying is a big no-no with God. Hey, Christian parents that are doing the Santa thing? Reconsider. I don't get it. Anyway, that's Father Christmas sorted. Let's see to who's replacing Jesus. It's still Jesus. Yeah, it's still him. Oh, and apparently he looked something more like this instead of this, which makes a lot more sense considering where he's from. As much as the mainstream may want to take the Christ out of Christmas, they're not quite there. At least not yet. Don't get me wrong, Christianity's taken a few hits, Christmas related or otherwise. Remember when people were trying to get the name Xmas to stick as a replacement? Yeah, and now it's just used for shorthand, but I wouldn't be surprised if they tried that again. It seems more people are falling out of faith than finding it, and to me that sucks. You see it less in movies and TV, and anytime a big Hollywood actor announces their faith, they're often mocked and seen as a joke. I've spoken to a lot of my non-religious mates, and even some of my Christian ones, about some of the religious practices I do and some that I won't because of my faith. And I get a few looks and some "wait, are you serious?" comments. I'm not even a particularly good Christian, but the standards I do uphold are enough to raise questions. Traditional values have fallen out of fashion, what can I say? But Jesus ain't cancelled just yet. Amongst the Christmas caroling, you do hear a few songs about his birth and significance, although they are fewer and far between the White Christmases, Magical, Fat Man and love songs. You always seem to run into a set of the nativity scene in some form or another, and there's usually one or two Christmas church services broadcast on the television. Such broadcasts might be more needed this year than others considering the emphasis on staying home and social distancing. And for the families that are some sort of Christian but not the most diehard in their practices like mine, Christmas still serves as a good reminder to what's important: God, family and giving. So while Jesus doesn't quite have the presence in modern culture that he did in the past, it is still named after the guy. Okay now, 2 down and 1 to go, although let's be honest, Santa and Jesus were pretty obvious answers for a Christmas-themed mascot supergroup. Putting someone down as the Holy Spirit for all of Christmas seems less obvious. The answer I found actually gave me the push to make this video in the first place. I actually had this idea first in May this year. May wasn't a great time to think up a Christmas video, but I did write it down, so here we are. Anyway, we need someone to encapsulate the Holy Spirit, the holiday spirit, something to represent the soul of Christmas. You need a figure that can hit the souls of all sorts of people. Unity, positivity, all that good stuff. And I think that music does a pretty good job with matters regarding the soul. Plenty of songs about Santa and Jesus, but I think we'll look to the performer rather than the subjects. And there is one person, one guy rather, that I think is appropriate for the position. And unlike other performers with one song to their name that's overplayed to death, this guy has a wide collection of songs that fit the theme. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking none other than the Canadian hunk himself, Mr. Michael Bublé. As December starts, he wakes from his almost year-long slumber, as the Christmas season is where he shines brightest. That sweet, captivating voice, leading strong in each single, paired with his charming demeanour of a true classic gentleman, making white women aged 35 and older from all over the world blush. Just look at him go. His beautiful voice, his style, his dreamy eyes, you get lost in and you just want to get up close and give him a big firm handshake for all of the great work he's done. Anyway, there's always new Christmas music, but nothing ever quite sticks around like what Mr. Bublé brings to the table. Every year you'll see various pop artists have a crack at a Christmas single, but it rarely feels genuine. More of an easy cash grab at the end of the year, rather than a product of passion for the festive season. They never turn into classics that you'll revisit in the years following. For whatever reason, Bublé's music never came across that way. Perhaps that's just the type of music. The Christmas singles you'll get from the artists hanging in the top 100 usually feel the same as their regular music, with some bells thrown in for good measure and a different subject matter for the lyrics to be based on. Sometimes they're okay, but it doesn't feel 100% like Christmas music. Honestly, Bublé's Christmas music follows a lot of the similar trends, not too dissimilar to a lot of his regular music, similar instrumentation, but with a few more bells. What sets him apart is genre. Of course, most of that Christmas album of his covers, it probably helps that a lot of those songs were classics to begin with. But the music genre sets it apart from the yearly new singles that try to compete. I don't even know what genre you'd call his music, but I like it. Regardless of whether any of what I just said has any merit, the fact is that his music always comes around for the Christmas season. And I don't think I know anyone that dislikes it, and I can't think of a better person to dub as the holiday spirit. So that's that then. Here we have the new Christmas Trinity of the modern age. A giver of gifts, a giver of love, and a giver of love. Not a bad group of lads for a festive supergroup if I do say so myself. But that's just a theory, a Christmas theory. Thanks for theory.